Trump economy 2.0 would likely be defined by two policies, the first being tariffs, the second being tax cuts. One being a raise of taxes on certain companies that import goods from across the globe, and the other being a cut of taxes for individuals and for corporations based here in the US.
The most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff.
And a tariff is essentially a tax on a company that's bringing in something from outside the US. So you think about the coffee shop down the street. If they're bringing in coffee beans from Colombia, they are paying an additional tax on those coffee beans in order to bring them in. Companies often pass along those additional costs to consumers. So maybe that coffee shop is now going to charge a little bit more for a cup of coffee because they had to pay more to get the beans in the first place. He's proposed tariffs of between 60% and 100% on Chinese goods, and tariffs as high as 20% on goods from around the world. Under tariffs like that, if companies do pass along a lot of those costs on to consumers, you could see them hit household budgets pretty hard. Similar to a policy you might hear Trump talk about on a range of things, where he says the US is getting ripped off by the world. NATO isn't paying its fair share. And the same thing to him works on the economy.
They're ripping us off. The whole world is ripping us off.
Now, part of the trouble is the companies paying the tax are based in the United States. So that coffee shop is a coffee shop down the street. They are not a coffee shop based in Colombia. So tax cuts in a Trump economy 2.0 would resemble what we saw in his first term, where his signature piece of legislation was what's now known as the Trump tax cuts. And what that was, a cut of corporate taxes to a flat rate of 21% and a cut of individual taxes across a range of tax brackets. The theory is that if you cut the tax burden for companies, if you cut it for individuals, it's going to stimulate and boost the economy because they're getting that savings they're keeping in their pocket. They're going to invest it in building new factories or new offices. Corporate profits will go up. Workers will see wages go up because the economy will be growing. And so, in theory, it is good for everybody. Critics will say most of the savings from the Trump tax cuts the first time went to wealthy corporations and wealthy businesses. And a lot of the money that they save ends up staying in their pockets or getting paid out to shareholders and not necessarily recirculating into the economy. So in the second term, the initial phase of tax cuts that begin to elapse start in 2025. So you would have what Trump has vowed to do, which is a renewal of those taxes beginning in 2025 to extend his achievement in the first term through a second term. And you'd see those tax cuts affecting, again, both corporations and individuals.